he was desperately trying to heal. They did all this stuff, living through, I mean, we did a whole bunch of stuff. And the thing that finally tipped the scale for him, he had to get his cell phone away from him at night, at least 15 feet. When he did that, he healed. That's when she got it. They sold their house. They moved out into the country. They literally bought a cabin, and they had an electrician wire it so they would go outside at night and
Hey, Inspired Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers, John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in to another inspired conversation. Our dear friend Tim James, founder of Chemical Free Body, a health warrior, if you will, and someone who's truly teaching people about what they need to do to be and become the best possible version of themselves, is back with me today. Thank you so much for having me back, John. This is exciting. Woo! It's great to see you. Well, Tim, I know you are getting ready for the Anarchapulco thing down in Mexico. You're going to Jeff Berwick's event. A lot of great people down there. And as you will go down there, you will transition through many different zones and places. And one of the things you're going to be subjected to, just like most people, is a lot of EMF, right? From airports to towers to whatnot. And I kind of want to talk a little bit deeper with you about that and your take on it and what people can do. But first, if you don't mind, brother, let's watch a clip here together. It's about 4 minutes long, but I think it'll give us a very good picture of what we're exposed to every single day, okay?
What are we? Pioneers. We're pioneer scientists here. This is like a sort of experiment that it's really hard to find anything like it. So this is like pretty groundbreaking stuff. We're going to grow some plants inside of there. One of them without Wi-Fi signal, one of them with Wi-Fi signal. They're called Faraday cages. So one of them will be putting out radiation where the other one is not going to be doing it.
I don't think anything's going to happen. I don't really know.
I don't know, because it's just like this plastic thing with technology in it. But like, we don't know if that will affect the plant.
I don't really feel like radiation affects me in any way, so I don't feel like it's going to affect another living thing like a plant.
Have you done this experiment before, or is this new?
We have seen an experiment using cress seeds and radiation, but never as controlled as this one, as far as I know.
Not really close. Full send.
Yeah, one of them is going to be exposed to high levels, and the whole reason that we've covered them in tinfoil is because the environment of this classroom is filled with that. Right, so we had to try to isolate the plants inside of there and not let the Wi-Fi get in there.
I don't really know if it'll affect anything because, like, I grow plants in my, like, I have Wi-Fi in my house and I grow plants all the time and they grow fine.
It's gonna die.
Think so?
Yeah. It blew my mind that the Wi-Fi off, like, the plants are growing.
Yeah.
But Wi-Fi on, the plants are growing. So I think that when the Wi-Fi's on, it's affecting the world. Like, affecting the whole entire world.
What are people's arguments against our results going to be?
The Wi-Fi on might have dried out all of the water from the seedlings.
The heat will evaporate the water that's in the plant.
The FCC doesn't say anywhere that Wi-Fi and radiation is harmful to people.
I think that we have to explore those different variables to make this experiment as sound as we can. What's the first thing that you're going to do? You get your cell phone in your hands, you just watch that video. What are you going to Google?
Does Wi-Fi kill plants? Or other living things?
First thing I would look up is what else can it hurt?
What?
Our brain, our arms, our legs. Does Wi-Fi hurt our body physically and mentally? Could it affect your sperm count and decrease population?
What?
Given the fact that you have been part of this research, looking over all of these studies, do you have Wi-Fi in your house?
No, I've been in the technology industry all my life, and I've never had Wi-Fi.
Because?
Well, I just didn't feel it was right. I didn't feel it was safe. And my wife has been very actually forceful about not having it. Now, you can run a longer wire. It's a bit annoying.
Signaling. Produce heat.
Have any countries or cities banned Wi-Fi?
Whew. You know, is this
no, not at all. I mean,
to you at all?
I mean, I've known about this stuff for probably 12, 13 years. But what's really great about what you just did is what I try to teach everybody that comes into my path is that to stop and create some space between what your belief systems are and think. And just think for a moment. Like, create a little bit of space and start asking some questions like the teacher and the children started asking questions. Just pause for a moment from your super busy life that you're all caught up in and find out if something that you thought to be true turned out not to be true. When would you want to know about it? Like right now, last week, last month. I want to know about it right friggin' now, right? And keep going on, especially something that's like, when you see those plants where within 60 hours the sprouts were growing, on 60 hours of the Wi-Fi they weren't. Now, eventually they'll probably grow, but it's going to be retarded growth. And your body is always constantly growing. Your cells, new cells are growing all the time. And so do you want to grow? You want your cells to be really slow? Or do you want them to grow at the normal speed that they were meant to be? So what we're talking about here is evolution. We're talking about evolving versus de-evolving, really. Because even if this was neutral, I don't want it. If it neutralized my evolution as a human being and my cellular growth, I don't want anything to do with it. But what we're going to get into is even worse because it's beyond that. It's retarding the growth and it's causing mutation.
But what I want to say is that this clip only looked at Wi-Fi, which is usually Wi-Fi. There's a hard wire that goes into a home, and then there's the router that transfers the signal wirelessly, right? That's why the radiation is affecting you. But this was not taken into account 5G towers. This was not taken into account the Starlink low orbit satellite system that's in place now. Thousands of satellites beaming this
smart meter
at us all the time. So we have smart meters, of course, and on and on and on the list goes. And we have a two-tiered approach. On the one hand, we know there's something we have to do about this. This can't just keep going on because it's hurting everyone. On the other hand, Tim, we also need to create a resilience, which means, when do we turn it on and off, but also what can we do to mitigate the effects, and how can we teach our bodies to deal with that in a better way? Like, those are all things that I'm thinking about. What about you?
These are all great questions. And, so I'll just tell you what I've done. I moved out of the city. That was number one. I moved back home to Eastern Oregon, and I don't live in town. I'm out in the country. I'm away from 5G. If people, have you talked about the book, The Invisible Rainbow? I'm sure you've had to have that come up.
No,
this is a book that you have to read.
No.
I can't remember the name of the guy, but if you pull it up, you can look it up. It's called The Invisible Rainbow. Basically, what it's talking about is that every time that there's been a pandemic, there's been a new rollout of technology preceding that pandemic. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Radar, frequency, all these frequencies that cause sickness within inside the cell. They cause cellular damage. Some people will be affected more than others. It'll hit a small percentage of the population, whatever that is, but where they actually are dying. And some people will get sick, cold and flu-like symptoms, and then they'll be categorized in the hospital as something else. And nobody's talked about it for 100 years. But it lines right up. And if that book was rewritten today, what's happening with, 1G, 2G, 3G, 4G. Every time these things get rolled out, there's more sickness, there's more pandemics and stuff like that. So yeah, I just the experiment that these kids does, it just shows that it's not good. And there's been tests done on mice and rats exposed to radiation. And then for me, the one thing that when I first learned about this was the high amounts of aluminum that's been sprayed aerosolized into the air. You and I and every person listening right now, whether you like it or not, or believe it or not, you're breathing in nano-sized aluminum particles that are sprayed and they're going up through your nasal cavity into your olfactory nerve to your brain. And then when the Wi-Fi and the 5G and all this garbage and the smart meters and all this stuff hits you, it's like zzz, and this is where I think is coming from, like a burden of heavy metals.
I have to say this here because we're on this platform. We're not making medical claims. We're not giving medical advice here. We are coincidentally talking about things that coincidentally coincide and align with each other at the same time, right?
Okay,
I'm just saying,
I know.
we got to give this disclaimer because this platform is not in support of,
yes. Okay.
open exploration.
All right. New filter, forgot. I got back into just being me.
Don't filter it. Just keep it in mind.
It's like, how come you can't just talk and let people that have a brain decide whether they want to act on the information or not? Like, it just drives me nuts. There's no freedom of that freedom of speech stuff is blocked in a lot of these places. So anyway, but yeah, so what I did was I moved. I just removed myself. I got away from it. I have harmonizers. Like you see this thing right here on my desk. This pyramid thing magnifies it, but on the back is a harmonizer that it's called a smart dot. And I also have those in my wallet, and I have them on the back of my phone. Okay. They're harmonizers. I have, people think this stuff is crazy, but I've got crystals. I have things called Tesla rocks underneath my chair where I'm working here, because I know there's a lot of radiation. You guys can't see it, but I have buttons and little more blockers and things all over my computer systems. I'm also...
Do you have shungite? Do you use shungite?
I don't have it right now. I had some, but I gave it to somebody that had cancer. If you look at my... This is a grounding pad, okay? Which is something that I'm going to talk about right now, which is like when you have to understand that the Wi-Fi and the 5G and stuff like this is called alternating current, AC current. And it's road currents that are not really good for you, okay? The quickest, fastest, bestest way to disable this is being grounded to Mother Earth. So if you just get your bare feet in contact with Mother Earth, that AC current will hit your body and go to Mother Earth. It will not affect you. At the same time, you'll now be getting charged by DC current, direct current from Mother Earth, and reducing inflammation, increasing cell vibrational frequency, boosting your immune system, and getting back to evolution. You're supposed to be in touch with Mother Earth. People in the modern world are in touch with Mother Earth less than 1% of the day.
Nobody walks in their bare feet. Nobody sits on the ground. Nobody sleeps on the ground. We honestly, Tim, we bring our grounding mat. It's the sheet that goes underneath the fitted sheet on the mattress, right? We bring it everywhere we go. I don't care if we're in a hotel, in a vacation rental, everywhere. I sleep on this, and boy, the difference in sleep, just quality of sleep.
I know that 60% of you out there listening have sleep issues. Okay, first thing you should do, easy peasy, is get a fitted grounding sheet. I buy mine from Ground Lux, GROUND, Ground LUXE, Lux.com. And the reason I use them is because they use 10% silver fibers rather than most of them are 5%. So I figured there's some more conductivity there. You guys can actually use my code HealthHero. You get another 10% off, and that helps support our organization.
What else other than the sleep? What is, in your experience, what does grounding help with in the body?
I mean, it's the natural flow state of a creature on this planet. If you're born from this planet, you should be in contact with Mother Earth. Period. End of story. As soon as you break contact with Mother Earth, your inflammation instantly goes up, and you're losing vibrational frequency. This is everything we do. This is why we teach living foods and sprouts, because of biophotons and bringing electrons in through the teeth, through the skeletal system and into the body. And so the mitochondria can release that light. But we also have that other system, which is Mother Earth. She's giving off a frequency, and we need it. Okay, for hundreds of thousands of years, we've been born and evolved with that frequency. And when you detach yourself from it, I'll put it to you this way. There are literally places in other countries, like in China, where people literally like just, they're all sick and they hand them they take their cell phones, they take their laptops, they get them away from technology, they feed them fresh food, fresh living food, and they just send them out into nature. Just go out in nature all day long. That's it. And guess what? They start healing. People start healing. They don't. And how is it working? Oh, I don't know. Well, hey, quit standing up for all this BS and trying to have a double-blind clinical studies and all this crap. Freaking get naked and go out in the woods for a few weeks. See how you feel, right? Or put some shorts on, okay? Put some shorts on, all right? But I'm saying it's like, what are you going to get when you go out in Mother Nature? You're going to be connected to Mother Nature. You're going to get that vibrational frequency, which is going to charge your cells. Yeah, you're going to sleep better. You're going to get fresh air out in the woods. You're going to get a lot of what are called negative ions that are cleaning the air and are good for you. You're going to get vitamin D, which is, it's not even a vitamin. It's a hormone that regulates. It's responsible for like 5% of the processes of the entire human body, especially your immune system, right? And so you're going to get out in Mother Nature, and you're going to start reconnecting. You know, one of the best things besides getting away from the 5G and stuff when I moved back home was because I purchased this trailer to live in while I'm building my house now, my shop-dominium thing. At night, after I get done taking care of my mom, she was sick before she passed. She had cancer and all that stuff. I'd be walking from the house to the trailer, and guess what I saw? Stars. Black sky and stars. And I would always pause and I'd sit there, and it reconnected me with who I really am. I truly, really am. It's like, man, I'm a part of all this. And we're all connected in this thing. And I was just overwhelmed with like, just amazement. And it's like, wow, I'm alive and I get to experience all of this. And I just kept thinking about the connection. And even though I looked in town and I saw some bright lights way over there, and I knew the people in town weren't able to see what I was seeing, the lights, the artificial lights are actually blocking us from feeling that connection. When I was a kid, we used to sit out and just sit and look at the stars, and maybe my uncle would be like, okay, this satellite's going to come over here, and there'd be like 4, 5, 6 satellites. Now they're just like zing, 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 zing. I mean, they're freaking everywhere now. My uncle he couldn't keep track of them all. Like, and he used to track them all. And so whether I was here in Oregon or I was back in Nebraska, my family, we would sit out under the stars and connect, and we would talk, and it was like it was part of our communal stuff, and I didn't realize the higher connection thing. So anyway, I just think it's really important that people get out in nature, because you're missing out on the most important part of life, which is life itself.
So there's a multi-tier strategy, right? When it comes to, not everyone is going to be able to up and leave and sort of leave the field immediately. So they're working with mitigation, optimization. One of the things people, of course, can do is turn that off, use Wi-Fi far less, maybe hardwire, use that yellow cable that nobody knows what it's for, but it actually goes into your device. It's
let me give the solutions then. Let me give the solutions for somebody that can't pack their bags and leave like I did. Number one, turn your Wi-Fi off at night when you sleep. At least, okay, just turn it off. It's really simple. It's just like going to the bathroom. All right, if you just go to the bathroom in your pants, it's going to be a mess. So just remember that if you don't turn your Wi-Fi off, your sleep is going to be a mess. Period. Okay, you're going to sleep better. You have to, if you have a smart meter, call them and say, I don't want the smart meter, and pay the extra $12 a month to have somebody come out and read it. And then get educated on it and go to your neighbors and say, hey, look what I found out about this. It's because a smart meter is putting off 2.4 gigahertz. Guess what else is 2.4 gigahertz? Your microwave. You're basically microwaving yourself. So what they do is you can get these Faraday cages you can purchase, or you can make your own. They're just metal, and they go on the outside of the smart meter. And then I also put some harmonizers on mine, because when I was staying with the gal, she had a smart meter. And then, but you have to also go to the inside of the building where the smart meter is and know where that's at, and get like a 2 by 2 or 3 by 3 foot screen, and you put it up against the wall so it blocks the waves from, it'll go right through the wall into you. I can't tell you how many times we've had children or people that are sick, and they do this one thing, and they're like, oh, my smart meter, I like those kids, I don't think it's going to do anything. I feel fine. You have no idea how good you can feel. You're tolerating a level. So blocking the smart meter. Some people, there's Faraday, you can put, you know, those, in some countries where they got lots of mosquitoes and stuff, they have those 4 posts that go up on the bed and there's a mosquito net. Well, they have them now that are made out of metal. They're basically a Faraday cage net. So you can do that. There's paint. You can sleep in a Faraday cage. You can paint your walls with that have the metal in it to block out the signals and stuff. I actually had a client whose her husband was a military veteran, and he earned his stripes. Let me tell you, and the stuff he did, I was like, holy crap! All the stuff he said he did, and the vaccine, all the things that he was exposed to, anthrax shots, and all these things. Anyway, he was desperately trying to heal. They did all this stuff, I mean, we did a whole bunch of stuff, and the thing that finally tipped the scale for him, he had to get his cell phone away from him at night, at least 15 feet. When he did that, he healed. That's when she got it. They sold their house. They moved out into the country. They literally bought a cabin, and they had an electrician wire it so they would go outside at night and shut all the power off to the cabin. And then they come back in the morning and turn it back on. It was just like, that's what they did. And they made sure his cell phone was completely in a different room. And that's when he healed.
I can't even tell you, for years, we were looking for EMF mitigation because we could feel it ramp up all the time. And you're fighting an uphill battle. You know, you do your best, but it's there. One of the things that really made a difference, grounding, 100% in the grounding.
Oh, yeah.
But FLFE. And most people don't even know that that's part of it because they feel, oh, it's a high consciousness field. But programmed into this field is actually a EMF mitigation program, which is incredible. So on average, they measure 40% mitigation without changing anything.
Yeah.
So that's not you turning stuff off. That's just the field. 40% is significant. That's like a lot. And they're optimizing that now and constantly taking the new technology into account. So it's, how have you experienced the changes with the service?
Yeah, I got it a long time ago, and it was funny because I live out here and the maps and stuff are a little bit off, so I had to talk with them and make sure that I was getting coverage because I'm like, I'm not actually in the house. I'm over here in the trailer about, 80 feet, 100 feet away. And then we're like, no, Tim, you're good. We got that whole thing covered and stuff. So, it's more of a quantum thing, right? It's a quantum consciousness and stuff. And it's the reason I signed up is because of my trust in you guys. And then I know that this is the future. The future of healing is frequency and sound and people raising their vibrational frequency. So I love it to have that over me, protecting me. And then I also have all the other little things that I have inside, and I can't recommend it enough to people. So
you will see, Tim, this year you'll have your grow. I mean, let's just say that weather will be fairly normal. You will have the best growing season of your life. Because the property's been on the field long enough, you'll see some plant growth and soil health really rising rapidly on the surface. That's consistently what we've seen. But back to the EMF, there's a third, of course, part to this is, what do you do nutritionally, and what do you do to make sure, because our theory is terrain theory, if we keep this body at optimum levels, it can fend off
let's go back to the supposedly
anything,
the father
right?
of medicine, Hippocrates. Let thy food be thy medicine, and thy medicine be thy food. So we have a invisible assault, another one, not just the chemicals. Now we're talking about radiational frequencies that we can't see with the naked eye, but we know they're there. And this, again, back to the students that you showed, there's the results. That's just a very rudimentary way of showing how disastrously these things are to life on this planet. So now that you're aware of that, mitigating all these things, it's more than ever like, what's the best medicine some of the best medicines you could put in your body? And it's your quality of food. It's your quality of food. You want to be getting the freshest food you can. When I'm talking about fresh, I'm talking about wild creature fresh. Like walking around out there, you pick it and you eat it on the spot. Okay? That's fresh. And this is why I promote sprouts, because you can grow sprouts in your home for pennies. This is the most, I mean, a tray of wheatgrass should be sold for $5,000. Okay, and people, oh, that's BS. Well, why is OSU the top phytochemical research place in the world, Oregon State University? Why have they been studying wheatgrass? Because it's got over 74,000 last time I looked. They had counted plant nutrients. They have the ability to reverse and prevent disease. Oregon State University, not Tim saying it, right? And they're still counting. So fresh. So, but I also know that most people, for some reason, just don't know. I don't have a green thumb. They have some belief system that they can't sprout, which I think is silly. But I have friends like this, and they're good friends, and I love them.
And everybody's on a
Yeah,
journey,
so
right?
I
I
learned
mean, you got to start somewhere, and you got to
Yeah,
start.
so you got to
where you
meet
think you
people where
can
they're
start.
at. And I would say if
You gotta
there's
have
one
that-
thing that you could do, it would be
Yeah.
just like drink a lot of water and make sure the water's dialed in, but put the greens in it. Our green formula, the Green 85 juice formula, is designed to replace the 85% of nutrition. It's a lot of this stuff is hand gathered. It's sun dried and air dried over under 110 degrees to maintain that life force. And just start with that every day. Make that your foundation, where you're drinking it in the morning on an empty stomach. And if you can afford it financially, which you should be able to, do it again a half an hour before dinner. Do it twice a day. And you'll notice that your grocery bill will be cut in half. Period. Okay, I'll put my son's eyes on it. I've seen it over and over for now 10 years. You cannot eat as much food as you're currently eating once your cells have what they're supposed to have. Now, you have revolutionized your health with one simple thing. It's flooding your body with these fresh living greens twice a day.
I got to tell you something, Tim, and this is to the testament to Green 85 is my in-laws were staying with us for a while over the holidays and the New Year and whatnot, and Christine, my wife, put greens in front of them every single morning. And my father-in-law is like, he's a snacker type. He'll have a good breakfast, and then every time he walks past the kitchen, he'll eat a little bit and here and there and some sweets and some whatever. So kind of in the habit of constantly grazing. After 10 days on the greens, I would say, after 10 days, that completely went away. Like he would eat a meal he would have the greens, eat breakfast less than usual, and then not be hungry till the late afternoon when we would eat again. And that was it. No grazing, no constant eating. His eyesight became extremely better in a short period of time.
We've seen that a lot with older people. Like, I remember I was amazed
yourself
in the beginning because, like, I talked to a buddy of mine and his dad, and he's like, yeah, Tim, my dad, I got him on the greens. He's living with me now because he can't take care of himself, kind of. And I said, what have you noticed? He's like, well, I got a lot more energy and I can see better. I'm like, really? You can see better? I blew my mind.
So I just wanted to tell you that was so beautiful to see because it was not me. No one was biased. They just drank the greens every day.
Guess what just came to me? I got a thunderbolt. Exciting. Okay. Do you guys remember this guy, Iron Man? Okay. Tony Stark, right? When his little energy source, this radiation device, got effed up and it was leaking radiation into him, what was he drinking? Massive amounts of green chlorophyll to mitigate the radiation. And go watch that movie again. Watch that movie. That's what he was doing. And we are just talking about being exposed to radiation. You got to get your chlorophyll in, guys. These plants have the ability to mitigate disease and keep you well and boost your immune system.
Listen, if you're gonna, I always say this, Tim has these packages and he'll tell you where to go and whatnot, but if you can only opt for one thing, and I know Tim says you got to detox first, but if you're only going to opt for one thing, please. And Tim is so obsessed with excellence and quality that a few months ago he called us. He said, "You won't believe what we finally got done here. Is let's just say you're done with this, and you accidentally throw it out of the car window." It'll decompose.
Depending on the weather, about 3 to 6 months, all the packaging, 100% of that packaging will turn into dirt.
Okay, so this is the level. This is why you call yourself why I call you the chemical-free body guy, because you're literally so obsessed that you went, I want my packaging to turn into dirt. So, but Tim, tell us about, all the protocols, where can they learn more? Where can they find your podcasts?
Sure.
Your teachings, your products.
Awesome.
Where can they learn more about
chemicalfreebody.com is the website. You guys can go there. My podcast, the media players on there. It's called Tim James Unleashed. It's behind me. There it is. My motto is change yourself, change your world, because your world is different than my world. We're all connected on another level, but you experience your world through yourself. And I know that if you want change in your world, you have to change it. Jean and I can't do it for you. We're just over here providing energy and frequency and some guidance, and it's up to you to take action because we are in a physical world. That's why you have to take physical action to get results in this physical world. So please love yourself enough to take action. And then, you know, so the podcast is there. And then, but actually, also go through, it's chemicalfreebody.com/inspired, right? /inspired. Go that way. Yeah, if you actually come directly to my website, just make sure you use the code INSPIRED to get your discount, because you guys earned it because you've been showing up and learning and working with Jean and Christine. And so do that. But there's the Inspired Health Bundle. For those of you who want to go all in and start transforming your health, do that. I also do some weekly coaching in a group format, so people can come do live Q&As. I teach a subject, and we always close with a guided breathwork meditation that will also open your pineal gland, which is pretty awesome. And, you know, I'm kind of a weird duck. I'm a redneck that is into truth, freedom, and health.
You was just reading my mind. I was saying two cowboys sitting here singing country songs and talking about consciousness.
I know,
and
it's so
pineal
funny.
gland
In
activation.
fact, John probably can't stand me because every
The
time he
world
comes
is
on to have me
changing.
do this, he's like, okay, we have to have it 15 minutes. And I end up going on, I get all excited, and then I spend another 15 minutes singing songs to him before we even get to start. I'm like, hey, look at this.
I gave up. I'm getting sucked into Tim's enthusiasm every time we get on, and we're just going with the flow now. So you know, but we are, you know, we got together last year and we played songs, we shared stories about country music and how we love it, and you know, don't buy the cliche. You know, there's more.
And don't
depth
sell
here than
yourself
meets the
short.
eye.
That's the thing, is like, you don't have to have some super pedigree or be a blue blood this or that. Like, you are exactly 100% equal to every single creature on this planet. So value yourself 100%. If, you know, creation made you, you are valuable, because all that is would not be all that is without you. And we need you. We need you vibing high. So let's roll.
Amen, brother. Thank you for always bringing the love, the enthusiasm, the knowledge. People jump over, get to know Tim better. You know, it's chemicalfreebody.com/inspired. Get to know what he does, what he's all about. No compromise, pure excellence. And that's why we love what you do and what you stand for, and your products, of course. And we use them every day. So Tim James,
thank you. And thank
so
everybody
much for joining
Appreciate
us again
you guys.
today. Inspired Tribe, you know, we love you. We appreciate you. And we'll be back with you again very, very soon.